It's Thursday night. I'm Scott Allen Miller, and this is Nicaragua Live. Hello, everybody. Happy holidays. Merry Christmas. This is our first show after Christmas, and I hope this is working. This is our first show being done with OBS. I am in Houston, Texas, and doing the show from there. It looks like we are up and running, so everything seems to be fine. Technically, let me know right away if you guys are able to hear me, because I have no idea. I have no way to monitor anything. I have no monitoring system. So the thing I have shows stuff going on. So fingers crossed that everything is working well. So yeah, we will see. But I do have a couple monitors going on. Like this is, I'm on the laptop. So this is like extra challenging, right? Because I'm doing a laptop live stream in a chair from, and I have no idea how many people are going to join because we gave no announcement and it's the holidays. So like, what is the plan? I don't know. And my family is ordering Panda Express. I want honey walnut shrimp. Yeah. Hey, Tusk, how's it going? Desert Sunset sounds good. Perfect, looks good, it sounds good. I'm actually on, for those who don't know, no one knows, for those who are wondering is what I meant to say. I'm on I'm on a Rode lavalier. Okay, I gotta switch which screen I'm looking at to know what you guys see. All right, there we go. I'm on the lavalier from Rode. I'm actually on the Rode Mini AI, which is a tiny little microphone input that USBs into my laptop. I'm on the Mac Air, and I'm just using the Mac built-in camera because this is what I have. I had no cameras with me, but we're gonna do an unboxing today. I've never done this before. So first of all, check it out. New hat. This is the Florida Caña, one of a Florida Caña series, and my father-in-law and my brothers-in-law, we all got matching ones, and then my nephew got a Nicaragua hat. We did not get him a rum distillery hat because he is 16. I don't know why that really matters when you're 16, but that's why. Anyway, we're going to do a GoPro unboxing because I came to Texas without a camera, which is, my kids are like, holy cow, you went to Texas without a camera? Who are you? But we're going to, we're gonna open up the new GoPro because it arrived about an hour ago, right? I was setting up for the live stream. I knew it was out for delivery. I knew it was supposed to come today. And then we're gonna have new cameras next week. No, I don't even know if that's true. Within 2 weeks, we're going to have more new cameras. But this is, I knew this would be here, so why bring a camera with us? Because we can do this here. And I don't know if you guys heard that. That is thunder. We have serious, serious thunder going on in the background around here. It has been, the last, I don't know, 72 hours have been big storms here. Like pretty impressive. So, and there's my niece walking by, just in case she wants to get on the live stream. She could come say hi. Nope, she's not gonna come say hi. uh, so I'm here in my sister-in-law's production room, where she does a lot of like t-shirt production and things like that. And she is Morgana Rose from Morgana Rose on YouTube, which she has not produced in a long time, but some of you have seen her there. Patricia says, Merry Christmas, everybody. It's great to be here. TJ's on. Hey, TJ, we are on the OBS, but I'm doing it from Texas, so this is going to tell us nothing whatsoever. But fortunately, my sister-in-law got fiber. We're now on AT&T fiber here. In the past, and it's been a long time, so none of you are probably aware, they had Comcast Xfinity up here. They couldn't get fiber until just a couple months ago, because this is the US and it's literally half a decade behind rural Nicaragua, apparently. But they finally have fiber, and it's super noticeable how much better it is. So now the internet here is incredibly good, and we could do anything, but I don't have the cameras to do just anything. But in the past, it was terrible, absolutely terrible. So I'm just going to take a drink of water here. Oh, it's closed. Ice cold water, stays cold. Ooh, that was some loud thunder. Holy cow. Patricia says, where's the poodle? Bring it on the live stream. It literally ran by right as you said that. They're freaking out because of the thunderstorm. So can't get them on very likely. They are absolutely crazy and would knock over all my equipment. Both of the poodles here are pretty young. I think they're 3 at the most, and they might be like 2 and 3. They're definitely not very old, and they're not super well behaved. They're generally well behaved, but in a thunderstorm, it's gonna be a little bit rough. One thing I don't like about this setup is I really don't have a good way to chat and see what's going on at the same time, which is a little bit rough, because normally I have an extra monitor. I mean, I can shrink this, I guess. There's supposed to be a way to pop this out, and I've popped it out in the past, but pop out chat, there it is. Okay. That'll make this easier. Now I can do live monitoring and have the chat. That works better. Much better. Okay. Now I can, because it's weird when I'm not actually, I'm getting rid of this. Okay. Well, how was everyone's Christmas? And in case no one noticed, TJ says, I had 5 gig from AT&T at my old house. What part of Houston were you in, TJ? So I got this for Christmas. It is awesome, and I'm loving that. So that was my big Christmas present. But today we are going to be cracking this open. This just arrived an hour ago, and I'm excited. I've never done an unboxing on camera, and it's not going to be much of an unboxing because it's not like we're doing ASMR and all this stuff, and like I'm on the lavalier. That's all I have. But this is going to be big for the show for the upcoming year, and I've been wanting to open this, and it just arrived. So, TG says use the phone. I was in Louisiana. Yeah, Houston is just the worst for internet. Like, it is so far behind everywhere else. It's up there with Cincinnati and San Francisco is the worst I've ever had to deal with. Oh, I can hear the rain outside. All right, here we go. Here we got the show this. So if you're wondering why we care about the 13, okay, so the Labrador, but not the poodles, is here now. Holly, you want to come say hi? Or are you just digging through everything? Holly, what are you doing? And there's Bear. Hey, Bear. Oh, and there's Freya. All the poodles are here. They just don't want to come see. They don't want to be on camera. They're shy. Holly, no, come on. No, she's not shy at all. She's got to knock everything over. Why are you back here?
Come on. What? No, Bear. Come on.
Oh, Ripple Effect is in Katy, right around the corner. I'm in Friendswood, so really close. Patricia says, I took my dogs to Sniff Spot Dog Park on Christmas and posted a video of them opening their Christmas presents. Oh, I saw that. I didn't notice the Sniff Park bit. That's a cute name. Chris says, I think you need to come out with your own merchandise line. So, yeah, so this is obviously a one-off, but I've got someone on my team who's really serious about doing merchandising, at least in Nicaragua, and we're working on it. With Marcella, who was working on that stuff she's not in the hospital right now. She is in recovery from her surgery. We have not done the GoFundMe yet, but we're going to. We did already receive $1,000 of donations, though, for her, so that's helping her get through. She has to go to Vivian Pellis in 4 days, but she's currently doing recovery. But she was doing a lot of the merchandise stuff, so she and this new person are going to be working on that when they're able to. And Yeti is probably not going to be available as like a thing, but this looks so cool. Like, this is pretty awesome. And my kids got a bunch of stuff for merchandising for Christmas. Like, they got like commercial equipment for making stuff. So we're going to be playing around with some things and seeing what we can do ourselves, what we can get in country, because I think it'd be really cool if we made everything in Nicaragua, but then getting it to the States, which is where most people are going to want it, is more challenging. But then it's cooler because it came from Nicaragua and actually came from us, and not just, hey, we slapped our logo on things that get made by a third party and show up at your house and we're not connected to. So it would be pretty cool. Anyway, so tonight really shouldn't be called Nicaragua Live. It should be called Texas Live with Poodles. Number 1 is here. Hey, ladies and gents. Patricia says, Sniff Spots are private dog parts you book by the hour. It's an American thing. You probably never heard of it. I have not heard of it. That sounds cool. Chris says, you mentioned you're close to Katie. I have family there. How close is it to you? I want to say 45 minutes. Katie is a bit northwest of us. I'm technically in Galveston County, not Harrison County, which is Harris County, which is Houston. So we're Houston, but we're in the Galveston side. But we're not in Galveston. We're not on the island. We're on mainland. So Galveston County. So if you know League City, Webster, that kind of area, that's where we are. So yeah, Katie's not far, but it's not like right around the corner either. So okay, so why this is cool. So one, all my GoPros are wearing out. Like I basically kill one a year, so I have to buy one a year just to keep them working. So that's just something that I've budgeted. Like every year I have to get a new GoPro. We figured that out a couple years ago, but it's been 5 years. This is year 5 continuous because we got the 9, and then when the 10 was just about to come out, I had to get a second 9. So we didn't get a 10, but I got a second 9. And then 11 when it was new, a 12 when it was new, and now a 13 when it was new. So since the 9, every year we have to get a new one. If getting them through GoPro, I get really huge deals because I'm a GoPro member and have been for a long time. So just needing to get one, big deal. The second thing is that this has improved batteries that run longer and more cooling. Cooling, most people don't worry too much about, especially with GoPros. But TJ keeps saying go to Micro Center, but I don't know what to get at Micro Center, TJ. But I know Micro Center. I have been there in the past. It's a nice place. But for those of us in tropical countries like Nicaragua, cooling on the GoPro is one of the biggest factors. So this one's supposed to have better cooling than previous models and longer battery life. I don't care too much about, I mean, I care, but the longer battery life is pretty minor, but the cooling is huge. I never run out of battery really, but I do overheat and kill batteries all the time. So that's really nice. The other big thing, the thing that you guys are going to notice other than fewer glitches, hopefully, is that this has HLG, which you're going to go, who cares? What is that? But when we start recording in HLG on the GoPro on a regular basis, you're going to notice because that's the hybrid log gamma system where we get a larger brightness scale and a larger color scale, and that'll let for if you have a monitor, a TV that supports HLG, which most of you do, like you just don't realize it, most of them do, it will show up as brighter, more vibrant episodes, and you'll just be like, wow, something's better, right? Everything else looks the same, but this seems better. That will be the HLG recording off of here, which I'm really looking forward to. It also has some minor things. It's got huge GPS upgrades. The 12 had no GPS. The 11 had a GPS, so it was all but useless. The 9 had one, totally useless. This one's supposed to actually be useful, so we'll see if that's true. It has way more lens functionality, which we're gonna show you because I got some cool lens stuff, and it's got new like magnetic mount that I have nothing for yet, but really looking forward to switching to that as I can. Most of the other things are real minor. Like there's little tiny upgrades that will affect me, but they're not really worth anything. But the, slightly smoother, hyper smooth, and slightly better blah, blah, blah. Larry says, I did cut my travel this week, so I won't miss an episode. Larry was in the Corn Islands and raced back to make it for the live. All right, so this is what's inside, and I'm trying to get it open. I've not yet figured it out. One of these sides has to open, right? Like, this can't be actually glued shut. There we go, there we go. All right. Your camera must be updated before you use it. Warning, warning. Okay, look at all these. That's a lot of paper. That's so much paper. And stickers. Stickers, yay! All right, we're going to put those back in the giant box. All right, more cables. I always need more cables. We got more generic mounts. I never use those, like, ever. I've got, all right, battery. That's important. And then there's, like, nothing in this box, really, right? There's one. Now, this is actually good. There's another one of these. They're generic, but they're their standard mounts. And I use them so much that they get sun damaged and actually break. So it's nice to get another one. That's one of the other reasons why I got to buy these all the time, is all the extra little things, like I need an extra battery, I need an extra one of these. And yes, you can buy those separately, but it adds up, and eventually it's good to have this stuff. So there's nothing in here that uses the new magnetic mount. We'll pull the battery out for those who want to see it. This is what the new battery looks like. New connectors. It's now got a flat end. It had a staged end before, so a little bit heavier. Yeah, I feel it. All right, now the piece de resistance. Now, obviously, they're all the same format, the same. Here we are. We're just. Oh yeah, same form factor. There's no like changes to anything, but I will show there's a very, I'm just gonna rip this off. There's a very slight update to down here. There's some fins that weren't there before. I can only imagine that's supposed to make you think about it cooling. I can't imagine they actually do anything. They're not metal. Like, how are they gonna cool it? It's just plastic. But one of the main upgrades on this bad boy is that the built-in microphones are supposed to be better than the previous ones. There's supposed to be some screen upgrades, things that you guys won't notice. But the microphones give me more capability for recording when I don't have the media kit, which I'm actually going to do this week. I didn't bring the media kit with me intentionally because the old microphones are pretty good, and these are supposed to be upgraded. So there you've got the new magnetic mount as well. So these are the magnets across here and little clip ends there, and then we can grab the ends, and oh, they're very hard to get out. And then we've got the traditional GoPro ear mount as always, and in the middle you've got the threaded mount if you want to put it on a traditional tripod. Lots of options. Now GoPro's the best. They were the worst at this, so big improvement. And then we got the, and then it's just a normal GoPro, right? But we're going to do cool stuff with this. You're going to appreciate the upgraded everything. I actually need to keep this protective thing. Like, how do I plan on getting this back? I don't have protective things for it, and I need to order those now and have them sent somewhere. Let me take another sip from this awesome new mug. Oh yeah, that's just water, by the way. Oh, nope. I've had it 10 seconds. I threw it on the floor already. All right, inside's completely normal, nothing's changed. And battery's in. I didn't bring the SD. I do have an SD card here. I'll be filming with this tomorrow. So now it is worth noting the lens is visibly different than previous generations. So like I can see that it's different, and this has a new lens family. So I think you can put old lenses on here, but it won't have all the features. The new ones have a magnetic identifier, and it knows what extra lens you're putting on, and it has more lenses than ever before. The last several generations have had a super wide angle lens, and that's it. This one has a lens family, and that's a pretty big deal, but there's going to be more that you can do with it. So while we're gabbing away about it here, I'm going to open up the second thing in a box. This all came direct from GoPro today. So I was waiting all day and it came after it was dark. So there's no chance to use anything. Patricia says, do you think the magnetic mount on the new GoPro makes your little white magnet camera obsolete? I forget the name of that camera. That is my Go 3, the Insta360 Go 3. No, I don't think anything currently on the market makes the Go 3 obsolete. The Go 3 is the, excuse the pun, go-to camera for super tiny filming. Now the Insta360 Go 3 has magnetic mount, but so does DJI Osmo 5, for example. Action 5, Action 4, both of those have it. So they've been around in other models, just not the GoPro. And there are other models of the Insta360, like the Ace and the Ace and the Ace Pro. Is that right? So they're very similar to the Go 3, but they're a little bit larger. So the DJI and the Insta360 Ace families all are magnetic like this, and they are all the same form factor as this. The Insta360 Go 3 is smaller than this, and all these, the action cams, these are magnetic mounts. They're not mounting magnets, right? So this is not meant for me to walk up to a fridge and go boom. You could. It probably would stick. I'll test that out on some things, but it's not designed to hold the camera. The camera is noticeably heavier than the 12 and 11 and 9. The magnets aren't meant to hold it. The magnets are meant for a, when they say magnetic mount, it's still a snap-on. It's still a clip that physically grabs it. The magnets guide it so you can really fast go doop, and it just goes on, and it lets you know that you got a solid connection, and then you still have to squeeze and physically release a clamp and pull it off, but it makes it that you don't miss. Whereas with these, you have to pull them out, you have to slide them into a thing, you got to put and if you did it without the magnets, it could work, but you'd risk that it's easy to get it misaligned, and so mag mounts aren't about the magnet holding it on, which is the reason that GoPro kept being like, oh, magnetic mounts aren't up to par with our ear mounts, because like these could hold, you know, I don't know, 500 pounds probably. They're like, you could hang off your GoPro, this will never release. It's like, that's great, but I'm never putting my GoPro through that kind of forces. It's meant for like, you know, attached to the front of a surfboard and a wave hits. They don't want you to lose your GoPro. Totally understand. GoPro's brilliant for having the it'll never release system, but there's a ton of us who don't use our GoPros for that stuff, or very rarely, and what we've always cared most about is the threaded mount, because we have normal tripods. That's what we want to put them on. So they added this with the 12, and then, but we're all like, but the DJI and Insta360 magnet mounts are so good. It's so fast. Just doop. You can like toss it and it'll connect and it will not come off. It's not as strong as the ears, but it's stronger than you ever actually need in practice. So it's the only thing they have. GoPro refused to do it until they could do all of them. Okay, GoPro. In the end, it's nice, but I don't know that it was worth waiting. But anyway, so it does not replace that. But the purpose of the Go 3 is not to be magnetic mount, although that's super cool. But its magnets are designed for both the base unit that kind of looks like this and the pull-out camera to actually magnetic mount to things. Now, if you put the base on something, that's not a very solid connection, but it will hang. It will hold its own weight, but only barely. But the little tiny camera goes boom, and you can actually put it on things. And if you have a flat surface, it's going to stay. So I wouldn't put it on the side of a car necessarily, like with wind, but for like normal things, or like you can put it a lot of places and just go boop and feel it secure. But that thing's only the size of my pinky, and it is not in any way competitive with these for image quality, even the upgraded one. So I have the Go 3. The Go 3S moves up to 4K. So they were 2.7K with what I have, which still looks really good. And they upgraded to 4K, which does look better. These are 5.7K at way higher bit rate, which is the thing that actually matters. They will, if it actually comes down to how it looks, there's no comparison. A much bigger sensor, way more features, all kinds of things. But when I need to sneak things, so when Jimmy and I did that walk around to the mall, and it's like, oh, people don't really want us walking around the mall and taking pictures. That thing is invisible. It's so small, and it doesn't look like a camera. It's just stuck to a bag or whatever. It's wearable. That stuff is a really big deal. But I would not want to use it for regular use. Plus, these are replaceable batteries. That one is a rechargeable only. Like there's like all kinds of really big limitations. Like it doesn't have an SD card, so I get maybe a couple hours of internal recording at most, and much lower quality. And if it overheats, there's nothing you can do. You just have to wait for it. If the battery runs out, there's nothing you can do. You just have to charge it. So it's like between 20 and 45 minutes is the most that I could possibly get on that. Whereas this, in theory, I can swap batteries and go all day, right? So it's a very different ecosystem meant for different things. And for tiny cameras, it's the best. Like nothing's gonna really compete with that. So I don't plan on updating those all the time. It'll be a long time till I get a new one, I'm sure. But it's certainly something that I really like and think is a very good device. I'm very happy with it. For people who are doing interesting filming and need flexibility, the Go 3 is really, really nice. And if you subscribe to Mr. Kidders, that is an entire channel shot 100% on Go 3S's that are strapped to cats. And it's an awesome channel. All right, so this is the new battery charger that I have specifically, and I needed this because I have these new battery types. And it came with 2 more batteries. So in total, I've got 3 new batteries here, which is a big deal because I eat through batteries like crazy. Like I truly kill GoPro batteries, and I need several at the ready on any given day to do things. So these really go in deep. I do not like that because when something goes wrong, they swell and you can't get them out, and then it takes your charger with it. That's bad. I've had several rip apart recently, so I'm very sensitive about the inability to firmly grip and remove the battery. Yep, that's a bit of a negative. But I also have, so these batteries are only for the GoPro 13. And here's the little charger thing all set to, it turned on lights, all set to go. And, but I also ordered 6 additional batteries for the old GoPros, which will only keep me on par with all the batteries I had previously that I burned through during this year. So I go through 4 to 6 batteries per year, I would say, that I completely kill, like they burst, and I have to discontinue using them. So awesome. We now have a lot of battery stuff going on. And here we go. Next thing up. Patricia says, pro tip, don't test a magnet on a bridge. Test it on a refrigerator close to the floor. Ah, yes. All right, next up, ultra wide. Now, I've never had an ultra wide lens mod. I've never had any lens mod for a GoPro before, which may sound surprising because I do so much GoPro stuff. But I used to think, why would I need the ultra wide? Because in the old days, if you used the ultra wide on the older GoPros, it created a circular image in the middle, and you had to lower the resolution to be able to use it. And the big thing that you would do with it was to be able to do 360 spins. Not 360 images, but like where you could turn the camera like this indefinitely, and it would always keep it stable. Now you couldn't, do like this with it, right? But as long as it was only tilting this way, it could go for forever. And so that was like, okay, that's interesting, but who cares? And it did give you some ultra wide images at a lower resolution, but it's like you're sacrificing too much. Like, I just don't care. But now they've got them so that the sensor's so much bigger, and you're able to do more things with it. We should be able to get a lot of our regular filming modified to where we're able to use it for normal filming, but make things wider, which only sounds so interesting. But quite often we actually want wider, right? Like it would be nice if we could, okay, so here's the empty, this is just an empty box, whatever. It comes with a tiny little cleaning cloth. Oh, check that out. All right. And then the lens comes in this sweet little case. Can you guys see this? This is an all rubberized little case. This is so cute. Oh my gosh. All right, we're gonna pull. Okay, that pulls the back off. So there's can you see it? There's the lens, that's the part that goes onto the GoPro. And this is just a rubber backing for it. And obviously when you take this off, you gotta put the other one into something, so it's important. I guess you're supposed to attach this and then pull the other side off because there's no way to grip it without that being attached. That's interesting. Yeah, wow. So this, in theory, is going to give us ultra-wide images that we've not been able to do before. And what my hope is that we can use it. So I'm not going to try to take this all off. What I'm hoping that we can do with this is, specifically when I'm doing my walking and talking episodes and we're seeing the town and like seeing stuff, that's often pretty narrow. And partially that's because it needs to use less of the sensor so it can do the image stabilization. It can't use as much information, and it can't use the full sensor. So because of that, in theory, we can use this and make that wider while still having the stabilization, I hope. And there's times where I'm just like talking, and it'd be nice if it was wider without being widely distorted, because you can go to like these super views and hyper views and stuff in the GoPros, but those are like wacky. They're like bringing in all kinds of information and compressing it, and everything's like really distorted. There's times where that makes sense, but not very often. This should be able to give us really good image quality while doing the same thing. So that's that's my hope with that. And the nice thing with this new GoPro is when you put this on, it instantly senses that you put it on, and you're able to, like, you don't have to tell it and change the setup. It's like, I know what we're doing, new lens, let's go. Same as like a DSLR or mirrorless camera would do. Patricia says, that sounds very dangerous. I have 2 lithium polymer batteries and I'm afraid of them exploding. I probably have really close to 100. Every camera I have has 4 to 10 batteries, plus all my microphone things, plus all my laptops, plus all my, I have a lot. All right, the last unboxing thing. This is the world's most boring unboxing, right? But these are what I have, and I got to open them anyway. So this is, oh, why did I put this plastic over here? No, trash right here. We did, by the way, order Panda Express. Yay! I've not had Panda Express. Oh, she asked me a question a long time ago, and I didn't see it. And of course, it doesn't accept my typing. There we go. All right, I'm coming back. Where's my monitor? There it is. Yeah, I haven't had Panda Express in forever. And that's American Chinese food just doesn't exist in Nicaragua. That would be awesome if it did. And there's some hope because like Panda Express and that stuff are becoming popular in China because American Chinese food is becoming a new food in China, much like Tex-Mex became a thing in the US. And so, you know, it's like, Mexican became like this weird internal thing in how the US did it. What are you guys here for? Does that mean our food arrived? Oh, no, you just came downstairs. Okay. I'm in an open part of the house, so I see a lot more of what's going on than other places. So this is the macro lens mod. This is new. This didn't exist before. So the wide angle has older versions that were already there, so it's just an upgraded version of that. And the old one would have done probably a lot of the same stuff, but I wasn't going to invest in it in the old system. Now that the new lens system is out, it feels like a solid investment that should work for many future cameras, not just this generation, because it's the HB series lenses as opposed to the old ones. All right, and here it is. Wow, this is big. So first of all, we have another little tiny lens cleaner and another thing we don't need. So we will discard that here. Yep, don't need anything of that. And then this is a much bigger lens kit. Now this is going to be a pain to use. And I have a friend who has this and he's like, it's not very good. But I really want to play with it and see how it works on my channel because our needs are very different. And the reason that this is cool is twofold. One, in theory, I can use the GoPro to film things up close. That's really what it's meant for, right? It's called a macro lens, and so its function is up close photography, but it actually allows you to go to like a meter or more and stay in focus. Because remember, for those who've been watching my show for a long time, when we film on a GoPro, it means that the background's in focus, and like if I'm talking, if I'm just showing the background, it's perfect. But if I'm talking and I'm in the image, which is a lot of the time, the background's in focus and I'm just a little bit blurry. It's not a big deal. It mostly works, and that's why I try to step back from the camera a little bit, and that makes me a little bit more in focus, but I'm always a little bit out of focus. With this lens, it's a manual focus lens, so I still have to like tune it. I can't really move, but in theory, I can make it that it makes, I'm like a meter away, like this is a good example, about this far away from the camera, I should be able to set this to be where focus is and the background be out of focus. But because it's only a little bit, it should work pretty well. So that in theory, when I'm doing just a talking video, that I can have that set and be like, I'm in focus, and the background has just a little blur, whereas I have a little blur and the background is super crisp, which is not ideal. Unless you're like trying to watch what's in the background, which is not normally what's going on. You want it to be a slightly blurry background effect. So I'm hoping that that works out well because it's an expensive lens edition, but we will see. Patricia says, what are you getting from Panda Express and how much did you have to pay in delivery fees and tip? So I don't think we got it delivered. I think they got in the car and drove there. I'm going to move this down just a little bit because that's what they generally do here. We've never done delivery here, as far as I know, ever. Even pizza, we don't do delivery. Like they run out and pick up everything, probably because it's so expensive. but we got some family meals, and we just get the honey walnut shrimp, which is super expensive because they charge you extra for it. But we have always enjoyed Panda Express. It's one of those things that my kids like a lot. My dad really likes it too. And that's our chance to go get it. We have very few people on tonight. Is it because the unboxing is really boring? It probably was. We only have 8 people on, but we did have a peak of almost 20, but they seem to have gone away. Anyway, so that was the camera update. We're done with the unboxing. So for those who found that boring, that has been completed. And now we are hanging out. And I do have this new hat that my kids got for me from Florida Canya, which I like a lot. It's a very cool hat, and it's got the volcano on the front, and says Florida Canya on the side, and my new mug. So those are the big things. Just move this box a little bit. Everything's a little bit precarious. So tomorrow we're going to be checking out the GoPro and trying out a bunch of things with it because it's the only camera I have. So how is everyone doing? What did you do for Christmas? Did you have to travel? I know Larry was in the Corn Islands. What about everyone else? And this is kind of cool. I can like lean back on a chair and because I've got the lavalier. I don't have to be by the mic. I can kind of move around a little bit. And I'm on a laptop. Technically, I could like undo the power and go wander around the house. The laptop actually seems to do an okay job with the image. Like this is not bad for a live stream. I wouldn't actually worry about doing this. It's the amount of setup I have for a normal week is so extensive. Maybe I should do this half the time and just be more relaxed and be like, yeah, we're just doing a casual live stream and not have to worry about it. Patricia says, I like the hat. You should take a new GoPro Volcano boarding when you go back to Leon. I'm really not I'm a little bit old for going down the volcano. I was moving some boxes 3 days ago and twisted my back and have had problems walking the last 3 days. I think sliding down the side of a volcano and worrying about destroying my camera would probably be too much for me. That would be a bad idea. As it is, I'm really hoping to be able to get out and start walking again pretty soon. We do believe we have all of our paperwork ready to do our new driver's licenses in 4 days. So, hi, Holly, stop coming through here. Nope, nope, yeah, nope, nope. She's like, there's tables I can get under now. I wasn't able to get under them before. I'm going to knock everything in the room over. Dogs. This is the same dog that stole my wife's lunch from Taco Bell and ran away with it. And so my wife only got part of her lunch because the dog stole the Taco Bell. I'm just checking messages. I have always so many messages that come in while I'm doing the live stream. And it's like, is this important? Do I need to read this? I don't know. So I'm checking. Well, you guys are quiet. That's what happens when there's only a few people on. It is the holiday show, so not expecting it to be a ton of people, but I didn't want to, we didn't talk about skipping it, and I'm actually able to be on, so I'm like, no, let's get on. And then I was really boring, so I apologize. It's a little bit hard to do the show because I'm in with all the people, and I'm trying not to interrupt them. They're trying not to interrupt me. We're trying to order food. I just heard someone say, give something to me. I don't know if food just arrived or what the deal is. But I'm going to move stuff just in case. But I'm very excited to have the new camera. That's, yeah, a lot of people are probably traveling this week for sure. I do so much filming that, the cameras are such a huge part of my life. Having one that just works a little bit better or gives me more features or whatever is like, this affects my everyday workflow. I've been trying to edit videos while we're here, and that's been tough. It's luckily I have a lot of backlog done, so in theory I should be able to keep up. But I haven't had a camera to record, so I'm only editing right now. And we got a couple upcoming things. I'm going to do an episode where I go to the barber. You'll notice my beard is different. I'm not saying that I like what we've done with it, but it's a bit shorter. So I went to the barber. So there's a barber episode coming up. We talk about the price of the barber and all that, and show Jimmy and I at the barber. So that's a little bit different. And we're doing a year-end wrap-up show where we do a bunch of little segments of things that didn't, like, we recorded throughout the year, but they didn't get posted because they were just like too small or never figured out how to put them into an episode. Dale's here. Hey, Scott, sorry to hear about your back. I like the setup. Looks good and nice to... You're able to lean back and have more room. Yep, this is very... I mean, like, it's a weird... Like, it's like a recliner. It's just what I had. So, this is actually... my sister-in-law has... Oh, one of the lights is not working. They have, like, studio lights attached to the ceiling specifically so that they can do live streams from in here. Or in this room, I think it's so they can do, like, crafting and keep the colors accurate. But upstairs, she actually has a live stream set up because she used to do really big live streams from here once upon a time. And so there's a lot of gear. So there's a lot of this. They have the same lamps that I do, and there's a cool phone holders on this shelf thing that my laptop is on. Yeah, my back hurt for a few days. I mean, it's not the end of the world. I just pulled muscles, I think, right? It's fine. It's definitely still sore a bit, but it's not a big deal. The big thing around here is my nephew got a VR system, and everyone has been playing Beat Saber, which is funny because they've been playing it for years, but they have a new system to play it on, so everybody's been playing it a lot, which my daughter is huge Beat Saberer. She loves playing that game, and hasn't done it in a while, so she's like getting into it. Like, Dale says, yeah, I was kind of wondering what happened to the beard. Yeah, so certain angles I'm like, yep, it's pretty good, and then other angles I'm like, no, I don't like it. Like, it's a little bit, it's too thick here. I've already adjusted it some myself, and it'll improve quickly, right, as it kind of fills itself back in. And so we had a quince several days ago, 5 days ago, and so I did it for that. So that was on Saturday. On Friday, I had the barbershop appointment, and we wanted to record there. So they called ahead. They're like, we're going to film, be ready for us. So they're like, okay. And I actually had this, I've never had this done before. I had my head actually shaved with a straight razor, that's fine. I don't mind that at all. But the beard, I don't know. I like controlling my own beard. This is on the short side for me. But it's been scraggly and long because I wanted to have it extra long, so they had more to work with to do a cut. But I feel that the shape is too wide, and they really need to. This is where I struggle the most, is kind of right here in finding a good way to get it smooth and then tapering off here. And they didn't really do that, which was probably my fault, not theirs. But those are things that I kind of know how to do because I've done them for 24 years, and I'm sure they know how to do really well, but it wasn't communicated, I guess. So I had to redo that myself. So it's fine, but it's not quite what I was looking for, but it works. I don't know. What do you guys think? Larry says, I passed by the stadium today, saw a statue being put in tomorrow. I'll see if it's a replica of me with the new beard. Yeah, they may have, no, probably Larry's probably the old beard. Like, they're gonna have to redo it. It is. I wonder what the new statue is of. I'm not going to be back for 2 weeks, so hopefully someone can let me know. Larry is also working on getting us tickets to the baseball game. Unfortunately, sorry, Larry, I was not able to get those before I left. It was mayhem with the quince and getting ready to travel and everything. So, and I am missing my dogs. It's rough traveling and not having your pets. So, oh, no, my phone is now stuck to the holder. There we go. And my kids are really missing their cat. They're like, oh, our cat. So this is the longest we've been away from them for a while. So, yep. Boy, you guys are super quiet. I don't have a lot to talk about, right? Oh, so our flights, just to give you guys an update, that all went really smooth. Patricia says, I like the professional beard trim. I think it looks great. Very demure, very cutesy. Oh, thanks, very cutesy. That's what I was going for. I said, could you like cutesy this up? That's what I needed. Did I film the quince? I did not. We didn't. So I really didn't want to be intrusive and be like, turning it into part of the show or anything like that. Obviously, quinceañeras are a very personal thing and very, very family thing. And they had professional filmographers and all that. And my kids were damas, so they were busy in the quince. And I didn't want to add to the mayhem, and I wanted to be able to be a participant. So I did get a tiny bit. If you guys were watching the shorts today, the fireworks that I showed, which you should go give a like to, watch those. It's just 61 seconds long, but that was the fireworks at like 2 a.m. at the quince. So that was there. But I was gonna say, travel. So we had I'm not gonna go into details. I'm not sure how much we're gonna disclose, but we had a unpleasant interaction with the hotel we thought we were going to stay at, and they decided to get pretty aggressive while we were there, but then backed down after we left. But we were all booked. We got the price changed on us after we arrived, and I wasn't putting up with it. Normally, I think a lot of people would be like, "It's not that much money. I guess we'll just pay." But it was definitely a gringo pricing situation, and we said no. And so we stood there and we booked another hotel. But luckily, I had another hotel by the airport that we'd been wanting to investigate for a long time. So I knew all about it. And Larry was just there 2 weeks ago, I think. And he had told me it was pretty good. So I'm like, I'm confident in doing this. Just book this other hotel and we'll just try it out. I hate trying things out when it's like my whole family getting on a plane with not very much sleep time to go. Like, that's not the time. Like, that's why we were spending extra money, was to be at a place we'd been at before and had good experiences before, and this just wasn't. And we were like, but they pushed me way too far, and I'm like, nope, we're going to another hotel. And so we tried out the Airport Inn and the Airport X. It turns out it's all one thing. We went to the cheaper Airport Inn because that's what was listed on Booking. I don't know why the Airport X is the one they advertise and it's not at Booking. It's confusing. I'm going to figure that stuff out. But we ended up on a total stay that should have been like $280, saved $200 by making the switch. That's pretty significant. So in the end, we're really happy with the decision. So I plan on doing an episode. I want to contact the Airport X and have them like show us around and let us film rooms and stuff and show what they have and talk about exactly how to get there, because they're in kind of a confusing location. They're right across the street from the airport, but not facing it. You can't see them from the road. You got to know where to go. Once you know where to go, it's like, this is a no-brainer. But if you don't know where to go, it's super panicky. Like, I wouldn't feel confident finding that hotel. I'm not going to do it, right? But individual rooms are like between $25 and $29. Larry might be able to tell me what a single was. We did double occupancy, $29, right? And the rooms are triple occupancy possible, so it's probably like $33 or something. But very small rooms, bunk beds, but it's a full on the bottom and a single on top. So if you don't want to use the bunk, like, you've got options. It's really not that bad that it's a bunk room. Air conditioned. No windows. Bathroom was okay, tiny, right? But I mean, the place is a hostel for sure. But it was comfy. The air conditioning made it freezing cold. I mean, you could have turned it up, obviously. And there's a restaurant on site. It's a cute block. The only negative really was that that it's hard to find, and there were a lot of mosquitoes outside, but the rooms don't have windows. There was no mosquitoes inside. So just while we were waiting in the lobby, mosquitoes were bad. We were also there very late at night. During the day, it's probably not so bad. And who knows, maybe that was a one-time thing. But given where they are, it's probably not. It probably is normal. But for that price by the airport, and then they don't have like a built-in breakfast, but we never get to use that because if we're using a hotel for the airport, we're always flying out early. We don't get breakfast, and because it's not open yet. And they don't have an airport shuttle, but they have a taxi service of their own that takes you for $5 for however many people you need to put in it. So it's not a big deal. So the hotel did have hot water. It was actually excruciatingly hot. I wish they had a lot less hot water than they did. That was so hot. Like, you could adjust it, but it took work to adjust it. It wasn't like a casual adjustment. So yeah, very hot water was available. I forgot that. I did think of that specifically for you, Patricia, that it was not a suicide shower. It's fully plumbed hot water, clearly with a boiler. Patricia also says, was the whole family sad you didn't get to fly the chicken bus of the skies to Texas? We were, actually. That would have saved us a lot of money. That should be their slogan. Like, they should put that on shirts. Fly the chicken bus of the skies like real people. Larry says it's the same owner in an X. It's definitely the same owner. You actually have to go to X to sign into in. So you go online and they advertise the inn, and when you get there, there's a sign on the door that says go across the street to the X and go in. Larry, it was $49 for one night with breakfast at Airport X, which is the fancy one. We went to the inn. It was $29 for double occupancy, but didn't include breakfast for one night. So that explains that. But that's good to know. $49 for the fancier one. That's still much cheaper than the other options in the area, and the Airport X seemed really nice. And I assume, Larry, that was all air conditioned and everything as well. And I really like what they've done there. If you guys go or we do an episode there, they're in the middle of a neighborhood in Managua, right? And not a fancy neighborhood by any stretch, but it is a what I'm going to call a chained neighborhood. There's these neighborhoods that have like guards into the whole neighborhood, but it's not like they check who you are. They just make sure you're not like a roving gang or something. I have no idea. You just go up and you're like, hey, I want to go in. They're like, okay, and they drop a chain and in you go. You're like, okay. But it's really confusing. But you go into this kind of limited access neighborhood. I guess it's guarded and gated, but very loosely. And so it's a nice neighborhood with fences around this big thing. I mean, I don't know, maybe 24 city blocks inside this area. And it's not the only one like this that I've been to. There's others in the city. It's a thing they do in Managua. I'm not sure why. Paul, who's been on the show, Paul Baker, he lives in one of those. And that's the first that I ever witnessed where it's like just a part of the city that's also got this guy with a chain across the road. But I suppose if you were to like rob someone, you were to call, they would just keep the chain there, and it'd be really hard to get out because there's fencing everywhere else. You'd have to run the chain or take time to get out. Like it would make robbing people a lot less effective. So it's really confusing, and you drive through these gravelly streets, and that houses are okay, but it's not a fancy neighborhood whatsoever. And you get to the farthest back corner, as far from where you entered as possible. And there's a block where the south side of the block, okay, so I just got a thing that gave me a thumbs up on the screen. I have no idea where that came from or what caused that. That is super weird. Hold on, my daughter needs to get a video game approved. Did you guys see the thumb come up on the live stream? That was crazy weird. I have no idea what could generate it. Larry's had air conditioning, hot water, and cable TV. Mine had no TV at all. But it was good. But so you go to this back corner of this neighborhood, and the last block is the south side is the Airport X, and the north side is the Airport Inn. And the two together, okay, Dale saw the thing. I have no idea what generated that, but I saw it. This is important. I saw it on OBS. So it was generated on my end, not in YouTube. So I have absolutely no idea what generated it. I was not touching the screen. I got nothing. Absolutely no idea how it got onto the screen. Patricia says 5 advertisements so far. Oh yeah, because I'm watching the live, which was good that I was watching the live, that I know that thumb came up, but I do not have the first clue what could possibly have triggered that. Like, what generated that? Did OBS just do that? Did the camera somehow do it? Did I do a thing? Is that like does it use some kind of gesture to do something? I got nothing. No, I don't know. Anyway, so the south side of the block is one, the north side of the block is the other, and when you get there, they're very, at least from the outside, modern European style buildings, both of them. and everything so they're the block from side to side, which is not that big. But so if you're standing in the middle and you look down the blocks, you're like, wow, this looks like you're in Europe. It completely modern European styled buildings, which much of Europe is open air. So there's an open air restaurant, but they have nice bollards out. They have a nice little sidewalk. They keep everything clean. Walking between the buildings feels very comfortable. It feels completely safe. It feels completely modern. And it's only for this one block, but they've made it that when you're in their hotels, it feels like you're in this completely different location. It was really nicely done. So even though they're very bare bones, super cheap, basically hostels for people using the airport, I think they did a fantastic job with what they had to do something both really nice and really interesting. And so, yeah, so I was very happy that we were able to get that at the last second, save all that money. So anyway, that was my thing. And so I want to do an episode on using them, because I think for most people, that whole, you could save this amount of money by staying here and it's really nice and easy and safe and comfortable is a big deal, right? Oh, why spend $85, right, which is the list price for the competition around the corner, when you could be at $29 and have less go wrong probably. It's a nice setup, right? So I'm going to do some filming on that. Then we got up early in the morning. We got up at 3. We took the $5 taxi for the whole family, all 4 of us, over for $5, which is right around the corner, right? It's nothing. Dropped us off at the airport. Now, we did run into, this is worth noting, there's a new process. Now, here's the thing. I don't know if it's going to last a week or forever, but residents were not able to go through the main line. It took us, we got to the airport at the moment our check-in started. We couldn't have been earlier, maybe 5 minutes. But that was it. We were essentially there at 4 a.m. 4 a.m. Our flight was at 6, on the nose. So our 4 a.m. arrival is the first moment we could drop our luggage. We couldn't go through security until 4 a.m. So we dropped our luggage, and that went smoothly. Nothing went wrong. Got that in and went right to security. Nothing went wrong. But in going to security, we had to go through the border control, the exit control, which is normally pretty fast. That took an hour or more. Now, each step in an airport takes some time. And they say, international flights, you should be there 3 hours before, domestic flights 2 hours before, but a lot of airports outside the U.S. don't open even international flights until 2 hours before. So that doesn't actually work. 2 hours before is the first you can drop your luggage. If you get there 2.5 hours before, I did this in Costa Rica, I got there 3 hours before because I didn't want anything to go wrong and I had a ride or something. I had to just sit on the floor waiting for baggage drop off to open for an hour. So I just sat there, and then it was the same as if I had arrived 2 hours. There was no way to make it better. The same thing here. You could arrive before 4 o'clock in the morning, but it would not change anything. So we dropped our luggage, and then we went through this line that took forever, and they go, no, you have to go through this other line that's unlabeled. So you go to this other line, wait a really long time, and we had to pay a little bit for exit visas because my kids haven't exited from their tourist visa. It's complicated, but there was this line management thing you needed to know about, or you don't have enough time. So we got out of that, we ran to security, went right through, ran to the gate, and were the last ones on the plane. They were already boarded when we got there. So we got to the airport at the first possible moment, and 2 minutes we could have missed the plane. That's how close it was. So that was concerning. Normally we get to Managua and we're like, I don't know, normally I go through those lines, 10 minutes from the time I'm dropping luggage till I'm in. It's no time at all. Now, if you're not dropping baggage and you have your ticket in hand, that can speed you up. You can actually get in early because you don't have to go through those. You don't have to worry if they're open or not. But if you have luggage, you're trapped. You have to do that. Or if you need your ticket printed, which we also did because you want them in paper if you can get them. So that was a problem. But we got onto our flight. We're the last ones on. Since we made the flight, nothing went wrong. It was just a little bit of worry for a few minutes. And then we did the 45-minute flight, which was completely on time, up to El Salvador. And now originally our flight was supposed to be at 5, and it got moved to 6. But that was days ago that it got moved, so it wasn't a last-minute thing. So then we had a little bit of time in El Salvador, but very, very little. So we got off the plane, went and got bagels ate the bagels, and by the time we were done eating the bagels, it was time to board, really. Now, we were in a late boarding group, so that gave us all the time. But had we been in like the priority boarding, we wouldn't have had time to eat. Like, that's how close it was. Now, it did take them a little bit to make the food. That wasn't super fast, but like it wasn't long. And then we got onto that flight, but now we had nice food. This was nice, like salmon and capers, and it was quite yummy. And I really liked the El Salvador airport. And then we flew on to Houston, which took 2.5 hours. We actually arrived a bit early, not a ton, but we were supposed to arrive at like 11:10. I think we were there at 10:55. So 15 minutes early, maybe, but that's a really short flight to gain 15 minutes. And then U.S. Customs and Border Control was incredibly easy. They've done the facial recognition stuff now, so that has sped things up so much. I remember, 10 years ago when we started doing this stuff, going into U.S. was so difficult and stressful and time consuming, and now that is gone. At least in my experience, it has been rock solid for a long time, several years at least, that it's just show up, show your face, go right through. Even when you were showing the passport, they sped it up so much. You have so much less human interaction. What interaction you do have is so much faster, so much friendlier. It used to be that they were very grumpy to let you in. Now that's been, for years, everyone we've talked to has been great. So I've really appreciated the changes in policy, the changes in the interactions that have happened. And it now feels honestly welcoming to go to the U.S., which is obviously a very pleasant change to have had, and for years. This isn't recent, but this was a really good, fast. Like, the lines were long and they just moved. You're like, oh, look at this line. Oh, look at it go. Whoa, okay, let's go. And you get up to the agent. You're like, here's our passports. He's like, go. And it's like, oh wow, this is fantastic. And then customs is like, just walk through, right? Like, there's nothing. And getting our bag, like, everything was easy. So that was great. Got outside, and my sister-in-law picked us up right there at the airport, and we were off to Friendswood. So really, now we were on Avianca the whole way through, and they were really good. No snacks, no drinks. That's worth noting, right? I'm used to, even our bargain flights, having at least like water, coffee, soda, a little tiny bag of peanuts or something, right? Nothing on Avianca. You can buy things, but not even water. Maybe you could ask for it, but there's no like water service where it's like, would you like a cup of water? No, nothing like that. So, that's worth noting, but it was a really cheap, otherwise really nice flight. No problems. I could have bought something if I needed, but those are so expensive. Carry something on if you can. And got to Houston. So certainly a flight path that, and my wife was very much like, yep, we can do that again. Like, that was all good. Except for that scary bit at the beginning where we thought we weren't going to make it. All of the flights were very pleasant. The crew did a good job. And dealing with El Salvador is so easy that it really did make it easy. Now, worth noting, because we had this question, when you get off at El Salvador, if you have lots of time, you have a lot of options. But if you don't have a lot of time, your options dwindle quickly, because if you're going to the U.S. from El Salvador and probably lots of other locations, you have to go through an additional international check. Because remember, Nicaragua to El Salvador is technically semi-domestic. So when you're going from El Salvador to the U.S., it's a full international flight. So you go through another checkpoint where you go through a full, take off your shoes, put your stuff on the conveyor belt kind of stuff, and go through the x-ray machine and all that, which can be a little bit time consuming. Obviously, it's not bad, but it can, if you're running to a gate, that's not something you want. And most of the food options are prior to that. So if you have lots of time, you can wander through the airport and do all the regular things. But if you're tight on time, this is why we ended up the way we did. We had to go through that. We didn't want to risk before going through that. And the number of food options was meant much less after having gone through the security. And so it just, you give up a lot of options if you're in a time crunch there, right? So just something to be aware of, that you have that extra step, because people often ask. But we did not have to get our luggage. Our luggage was just passed through. That was handled from Managua, and we never saw it again until Houston. But we had to go through a separate, the equivalent of the TSA checkpoint, but for El Salvador. So for those who are wondering, or for posterity when we're like, what was it? You can be like, Scott said it on a live stream. We can go look it up because I may not remember in the future. But it all went really well. So that was our flight, and now we've been here for several days. We got up here, I think, 3 days ago. So it's we had Christmas Eve here. We arrived on the 23rd. Spent Christmas Eve here getting ready for Christmas. I mean, 23rd, by the time we were here in the house, it was probably 2 o'clock, 2:30, something like that. It does take a while to get across Houston. And then we celebrated Christmas yesterday. Yeah. Patricia, Tim says, I saw the thumb. Patricia says, I don't like the bunk beds or lack of windows. The bunk beds really weren't bad because you just ignore the upper one. Like, unless you're jumping up in bed, it didn't affect us at all. I just used it to set my luggage on. Larry says, that hotel was recommended to me by several of my friends over the past few years. Cool. Yeah, it sure seems like the place that makes sense to go. Unless they do something to make us unhappy, I'm going to keep using them. There's just no reason to spend all that extra money. And so this is funny. My friend Jenny, who was down to visit with her boyfriend Tony, they were going to go to Managua so that they could see Tony's uncle performing at someplace. They're like, he's performing someplace, and he's a musician and kind of does jazz and stuff. And they couldn't tell me where he's going to perform, which makes it very difficult to like. It's like, okay, but where? And so later, after they'd left, they're like, oh, he performed at the Cuban Dance Hostel. And I'm like, what? Like, I know the owner. Like, we've had them on the show before, and we're going to go back for stuff. TJ, what do you need? But that is the other story of like, we normally stay at the DoubleTree, which we really like. Like they do a fantastic job. They've been consistently really good, but they're pricey, right? They're not U.S. prices, but they're much closer to U.S. prices than Nicaragua prices. And while that's nice that there's lots of services, they have great cookies, the room is super comfortable. One, the beds aren't that big. We're always putting up with very small beds for the price, which is partially why we get it as cheap as we do. But that would be a night, like, we got way more space at the airport than we do at the DoubleTree. But at the DoubleTree, we have our kids with us rather than next door. But at the Cuban Dance Hostel, which is like right across the street from the DoubleTree, the rooms are so much cheaper. And it really changes everything. It's like, well, at the DoubleTree, all these things are included. You're like, yeah, but at the Cuban, you can afford to just buy all these things. It's a completely different world, right? It's like, oh, the rooms are under $20. Dinner is $10. You could just buy all the things you want that you're actually going to use and still be spending a third the money. And it's like, okay, yeah, no, that makes a lot of sense. So we plan on adjusting to using them when we want to stay in Villa Fontana, which is quite often where we want to be. That's partially why we like the DoubleTree so much, is we like the location. It's just really handy for the things that we tend to do. So finding a place that is really inexpensive right next to where we already know is fantastic, and that it's not a big. I mean, I like Hilton. I'm a member. I use them all over the place, but why use a giant international chain when you can support a local business, right? So that's I plan on doing shows on both of them soon, hopefully, and it would be nice if we put together like a nice roster of places all over the country that we know are comfy and safe and friendly and local businesses that we can support and make it easier for traveling around the country. Because so often when you're going places, it's like, I'm going to be staying in Managua, and everyone's like, I don't know. Just look on something, right? And you're looking on some stupid service, and it's only larger businesses or whatever that are able to get their word out there, or you just lack references, and you're like, this place is probably good, but I don't know anyone who's been there. People ask me all the time, where do you stay when you go here? I'm like, I don't know, with friends, or like I'm driving in from somewhere, so I don't need to stay. So even Managua, most of the time when I stay in Managua, I'm staying with friends. I don't need to stay someplace, and so that makes it difficult to have a lot of references other than when we're intentionally going to like the DoubleTree or whatever. So yeah. How many people do we have on? You guys are very quiet. It's the holiday doldrums. Only 9. Oh, no. 15 odd. We've got some people. They're just quiet people. That's all that's going on. I don't know how late we're going to go tonight. What are you guys feeling? Is this a late night? Is this an early night? TJ, I can probably get you gravy mix. That's probably doable. I'm going to be going to New York. Remind me when I'm in New York, TJ, to get it there, because I don't want to fly it from Texas to New York unless there's something really special that has to be a Texas gravy mix. But gravy mix I can probably get in the bag. But bringing back a lot of stuff from New York. Here to New York, not too bad. And we're flying the chicken bus of the skies from here to New York, and from New York back. It's only this one way north that we're on Avianca, I believe. Now I don't even remember. Yeah, I don't know. I seriously need to check my flights. I don't remember what we've booked. Tim says I stayed at the airport X 2 times. It makes it sound like you stayed at the airport X2, which is like the upgrade that we don't know about. Room was okay. They have food and a bar, and the ride to the airport was easy. Yeah, it's definitely not luxurious. Like, no one's claiming that. That's why I want to film it and be like, here's what the rooms actually look like. And then people could be like, oh, that's not fancy, but I could put up with it for saving the money. And then there you go. And honestly, the alternative that's way more expensive, while I like it and my kids think it's cool, their rooms aren't fancy either. Like, let's be fair. I was just there and filmed it, and I like their hallways. I like a bunch of stuff about it. I think it's quirky in an interesting way that I like, but fancy it is not, right? So a little bit more spacious, I think, but for half the price, I don't know how much less the Airport X is in fancy. TJ says, I just used my last package. You're all out of gravy. It's a gravy emergency. The gravy boat has sunk. Hey, Chana, did food arrive yet? I'm being ignored. Everyone's conditioned to ignore me talking when I'm on the live stream. What was I saying? I don't know. But yeah, it was a good trip. And oh yeah, I need to check my flights. I'll keep talking while I check my flights. That's Dale says on the map there's a few hostels and hotels in that little neighborhood. There are. None of the others have I ever gotten a reference for. That doesn't make them bad, obviously. But a lot of them get like really cheap and feel kind of like I'd really want to go check them out ahead of time, which would be great. We should go check them out ahead of time and have like a really good feel for what they're going to be like and be like, oh, this is fantastic. We don't have to worry about anything. So, so great, right? But, okay, confirmation. That's my confirmation for flying Houston to Rochester. What about this one? Rochester to Managua. Okay, so I am flying the Chicken Bus of the Skies from Houston to Rochester and Rochester to Managua. So we'll be flying back on that. But I would like to check out a lot of those little places. I just want to check them out when we're not under any pressure, when we're not going to like miss a flight or be all stressed out because things went horribly wrong, or as is quite often the case, right? You end up in a situation of being essentially open to extortion, right? And I'm not saying that that's what's going to happen, but you're in this worried state where it's like, I have to find a hotel in the next 2 hours, which is kind of where we were. Like, my wife was getting to the point where she had to get to bed, and we were worried about making our flight or getting any sleep before our flight, and worried about losing all this money because we had booked with this place, and that's all fine, that nothing went wrong. But there was a lot of like just concern, and it really makes it like, well, I just want to get the expensive place and know that everything's okay. And I totally like understand why everybody would feel that way. So I think if we went and checked out a number of places and were like, here's the owner, here's how much it really does cost, here's what the rooms really look like, here's how you find it, here's how you get from there to the airport, here's what services they offer, don't offer, here, do they have AC or not, do they have hot water or not, and have a couple of, do they have Wi-Fi or not. The airport inn had Wi-Fi, it was not working, but I have Claro, so it didn't matter. But that was a concern. They had, the Wi-Fi was okay, but their internet was down. So not a great sign, but it may have just been a one-time thing. Larry, did the internet work while you were there on Wi-Fi? Patricia says, I just got an email for Move Abroad Con being held in San Antonio, Texas. Will you be hosting a seminar? I will be not. I will not be. I do like cons. I have spoken at a lot of Texas cons over the years. TJ says, I was looking at Yellow Bus for flights and they stop mid-February. Wait, they stop mid-February? Does that mean they stop having them booked, or are they done? Oh, I hate the lack of announcements. That is one of my biggest things with the big yellow chicken bus. We all have our names for them. Like they just never have a clear, here is what is going on with these flights. There's no news announcements for it. What the heck? Urgh. Let's see. Just going to look at, all right, Fort Lauderdale. I don't have the rapid ability to share my screen. We can do that with this. It's just not something I prepped ahead of time. And with just my laptop, I'm not even going to try. So let's see. Let's say February 12th. What do we get? Okay, they're still flying February 12th. Flights from Fort Lauderdale to Managua on February 11th, $39. 12th, $41. 13th, $40. Valentine's Day, $57. And the next day, $40. Then they go up dramatically the week after that, being as low as 41 but as high as 334. Then the next week, as high as 212 but goes all the way down to 40 again. Nope, I'm showing flights all through March right now. Oh, no. This is totally my fault. Wrong airport. Ignore all of that. All of it. Completely ignore. Okay, lowest price, $67 on the 11th. No flights after the 11th. Oh, you're right. No flights whatsoever after the 11th. Oh, no. We finally got super cheap flights back again, and they're gone. At least for the moment. Yeah, no news announcements of any sort. Well, that's super frustrating. I can hear my family watching Supernatural. Going to Nicaragua, yeah. Why, Spirit? Why? Why can't you just... And this is killing them, right? They don't maintain flight paths, so we don't get it. So everyone gets used to using other airlines. And then they stop looking at Spirit, and then they get out of the habit, and they establish points with other airlines, and then they don't use Spirit, right? And, like for us, now, we're not planning on using this flight path a lot in the near future, but it is kind of useful to have access to it. But in reality, we're much more likely to use Avianca because Avianca goes through Bogota and has a lot of other options for us that we're more likely to be using in the near future. Dale says, wonder if it's a bankruptcy thing limited on how long out they show flights or something. That's plausible, like the restructuring, like they want to play their cards close to the chest. But if you don't show February, right? Like, it's basically January now. You know, we're talking flights less than 2 months away. You need to be able to book those. So if they're just trying to play it close to the vest, they're screwing themselves because we can't book those flights. Like if I was going to be going to, you know, when I booked my flight for Managua with them, that was definitely more than 2 months out. So yeah, that I'm pretty sure is them stopping service, which is terrible because they just came back. Why did they bother coming back for 3 months when all their flights are $50? You know, like that only works if you have a consistent flight path. Now maybe they're losing an airplane or something. I don't know, and they're just trying to figure out what to do. Like I get that it's tough, but that's a rough situation. All right, we still got 13 people on. You guys doing anything for New Year's? What are your plans? Trisha says, I don't think Spirit knows what they're doing yet. That's possible. There's a lot of maybe it's just confusion and stuff going on. Well, guys, I think we're going to keep it a short night tonight. I know that this is super short. I mean, we did an hour and a half, right? But I need to eat dinner and see my family. We're up to 16 people. Always, as I say it, people just flood on. But I really wanted to come on and do a live stream and give you guys a chance to say hi and connect. But it is the holidays, so I also want to make sure we're getting family time in, but I really appreciate everybody jumping on. Dale says, no plans for New Year's Eve. Tim says, I booked a Spirit flight in March, and then it was canceled. I'm hoping that they put some flights back on. Otherwise, I'll have to book the last flight around February 8th. Yeah, Tim, the last one I saw is the 11th that they currently have. Maybe they're canceling. Maybe they're moving them, though. You can fly in on Avianca still, but, well, that sucks. I'm glad we uncovered that. And we've got hotel stuff to research. And Patricia says, I'm going to my living room to protect my dogs from fireworks for New Year's. Not sure what I'm wearing yet. Yeah, my dogs will not be happy for New Year's. Here in Texas, I don't think we're too bad. But, all right, everybody. Thanks for joining me. It's great to see everyone again. I didn't want to be without the live stream here in Texas because we only get to connect so much, and I feel disconnected when we don't do these, and it was cool. And I really appreciate everybody jumping on. So, Merry Christmas, Happy Holidays, and I won't see you before then. Happy New Year's. This is our last stream for 2024. I will see all of you in 2025. Lots of exciting stuff. I really feel like 2025 is going to be a big year for the show. I mean, it's been the last 3 years. Every year has been a pretty big year for the show in the way I feel about it. But I feel like 2025 is going to be kind of a, excuse the pun, leap year for the show. 2024 was the actual leap year. But I think we're going to do some amazing stuff. I'm ready to really hit the ground running in a lot of areas. One, which is not running at all, but driving and actually having access to a driver's license. So that alone has so much potential. Thanks for joining me. Have a good night, everybody.